Let us understand Oracle 11z, and in that we'll understand SQL schema objects. There are several schema objects we are having, and I will be talking about that here. Okay, so we are having several schema, like I can say views, we are having say synonyms, sequences, procedures, clusters, and database, right? Links. So what is a schema? A schema is a collection of objects, right? When we create a user, one schema is get created. So schema is nothing but it's a name of user, okay, which can hold number of objects, okay. And schema objects are the logical structure that directly refer to the data in the database, okay. So we create some logical structures. Schema objects include, look it now, we are having table, views, right, synonyms, sequences, store procedure, indexes, cluster, okay, triggers, database link, lot of. So when we create a database, now the database having different users, say user 1 and user 2 or 3, like that, user n, okay. So consider I have a user 1 as a schema. Now in this schema we can create several objects, okay. Now these objects could be what? It could be tables, it could be views, any kind of this objects we can create it. And this user will be the owner of that objects, right? So let us understand some of these objects here. So we'll understand what is view, how to create view, and how to alter the view, how to drop view, right? How to make a complex views, okay? How to insert, delete data from view, create and maintain indexes, how we can create index, what is the use of index, when to create index, when not to create index. All discussion I will do today on this schema objects. So create public or private synonyms, how we can make a synonym of existing object. Suppose an object is having some lengthy name, we can shorten the name and we can make a synonym of that, and the user can use that synonym, okay. So let us talk about first view. What is view here? I can say view is a logical table, or I can say it is a virtual table based on the table or another view, okay. So view contains no data of its own, but its own, but is like a window through which data from tables can be viewed or changed, right? So it's working like a window through which you can change your data, modify your data, view your data of a table. The tables on which a view is based on called base table, or we can say underlying table, right? So the view is stored as select statement in the data dictionary. Advantages of view. Look at this, some of the advantages here. View restrict access to the data because the view can display selective columns from the table, right? So we can create all the columns in of the table in a view, but we can make a selective view. Let us say one table having 100 columns. I can make a view on 10 columns. I can make a view on another 20 columns. So different view we can create for the different users for different purpose. Okay. Views can be used to make simple queries to retrieve the result of complex queries. So let us say always we are writing some kind of join, some kind of sub query. So we are always firing some complex query, and we can put that complex query in the view and then we can retrieve the view easily, right? So views provides data independence for ad hoc users and applications. So we can write some queries in the views. Any unplanned query we can write and we can use it. One view can be used to retrieve data from several tables. Okay, so we can refer more than one tables in the view. A view provides a group of users access to data according to their particular criteria. Okay. So we understood the. Okay, next is what? There are two classification of view, simple and complex. So what is the exact difference between this simple and complex view? We'll have a discussion here. Okay. In the simple view is one that derives data from only one table. Okay. So we are retrieving or we are referring single table in a view, contains no function or group of data. It's just simple select where we can perform some DML operation through the view. Okay. What I mean here, we can insert, we can update, we can delete, we can select, all operations we can perform through view on table. Okay. But one which is a complex, it means we are using more than one tables, contains functions or group by clause, something we are using some pseudo columns. So it does not allow operations through the view. You can just retrieve the data, you can view the data, but it is not allowing to do some DML operation. Okay, if it is a complex view. Now can you see the syntax to create a view? It's very simple. So you can just write create or replace. You can write create or replace. Force or no force view, you can give the view name and you can have some alias, you can pass some kind of arguments here. And then you can write some subquery here. And after writing the query, you can say with check option, with read only. Okay. So if I'm using or replace here, it will help you to alter table. I means recreate the view if it is already exist. Okay. With specified the query which you have mentioned in the view. Force, if you're saying here force or no force, create the view regardless of whether the base table exists or not. So it will create a view. Later if you create the table, okay, it will start functioning. Okay. With read only, if you're giving with read only, it means the view is read only. Okay. Through view, no one can insert, update, delete. They cannot perform any DML operation on view. Okay. Look at see. So view is the name of the view. Alias specify the name for the expression selected by the views query. Okay. Subquery, you can write the selected statement. With check option, specify that only rows accessible to the view can be inserted or updated. Constant, you can just give the name of the constant for the check option. Okay. And for the read only constant which you are going to apply on the view. With read only, ensure that no DML operations can be performed on this view. Right? Good. Look at one example here. Create view name. So this is my view name, funded loan. Okay. Funded loan is my view name. I am using as here. It is as. Now the select statement from here to here, you are finding that there is a one select statement here, right? Now select this column, loan number, loan amount, loan status from loan table, right? Where loan status funded. So one view is created. Once the view is created, I can simply write select what star from funded loan. Okay. If I write this query, okay, I will get the data. What? Loan number, loan amount, and loan status. Where a status is funded only. Rest other will not display, right? The subquery that defines a view can contain complex select syntax, including join, group, and subquery. Other subquery. The subquery that defines the view cannot contain order by clause. Okay. So you cannot use order by clause here. If you do not specify a constant name for a view, with check option, the system assign a default name in the format sys. Okay. So it will take sys underscore constant name. Some constant name will get defined. You can use the or replace option to change the definition of view without dropping and recreating it, or re-granting object privilege previously granted on it, right? So what will happen? You need not to drop the view. You just say create or replace. It will recreate the your view without destroying privilege and permissions. Okay. Retrieving data from view. You just use view name here. Okay. Just select a star from funded loan. When you access data using a view, the Oracle server performs the following operation. So it retrieves the view definition from the data dictionary table, user view, all the views information is stored here, and it checks access privilege for the view based table, and it converts the view query into a equivalent operation on the underlying base table or tables, and then it will retrieve the data and display it. Okay. You can modify a view. You can just write what? Create or replace. So you can use here, see here, this you have to write or replace. So this view will be recreated without dropping privilege. Okay. And you can modify, you can add some more column here like this, keep adding the columns. Okay. Okay, one new view will get created. I mean the view will get altered. Okay. We can make some complex view here, and you can notice here that what we are doing, we are writing some join operation here. In this select statement, we are saying select this, we are saying max, we are finding mean. Okay, loan amount, loan status, and then I'm calling this one table, another table, and I'm doing the join operation here, right? So this is a complex view. Now if you're having this kind of view, you cannot perform insert, update, delete on this kind of table here. You can just say select a star from funded loan. You can only retrieve the records from this table. Now the Dml operation on view, you cannot remove. Look it here, it's very important. Dml operation on view, you cannot remove a row if the row contains the following group functions. What it mean? Like sum, max, mean, right? Group by clause, distinct keyword, and row number, pseudo columns. If they are having, you cannot remove the records. Okay. You cannot modify the data in a view if they are having same group by clause, distinct, and pseudo column, and columns defined by expression. You cannot do that. Cannot modify, right? You cannot modify data through a view if contains the following: group function, okay, group by clause, distinct keyword, pseudo column, row num if it is there, columns defined by expression and not null column in the base table that are not selected by view. See, in my table I am saying that one column is not null, means I have to enter the data right in that column, but your view is not selecting that column. Then are you able to insert the record? No, you cannot do that. You cannot insert the record. It will reject it, right? Use of check option. Use of check option in a view definition. The check option restrict updation of the column which forms the view definition. So we are saying that if this is my view, and finally in the last we are saying with check option. So if any of the stuff we are having and if we are inserting, updating the record, then you must check it, right? The following insert and update command on the view would not work. Look at here. We are trying to insert the record. We are trying to update the record, right? But we are saying a status shift, status here. So we have applied this constant where the condition is this, right? So only this view will display funded. So we can insert funded only. We cannot insert another one. So it will not allow to insert or update the data which is not matching with the constant, the condition which we have applied. So that is what with check option. Read only, it's very simple. Just in the last write here with read only. Once we write with read only statement with view, so the read only view allows the user only to read from the views. Now they can simply say select a star from funded loan. They cannot say select a star from or insert into funded loan, update funded loan or delete funded loan. They cannot do that, right? With read only clause specify that you will only be able to select records from the view. Thus modification to the base table through the view are prevented. Okay. Removing a view, it's very simple. Just say drop view, view name. Okay. So if you want, just look at here. You can notice this. We are saying here drop view name, right? So it will get dropped. If you're dropping view, there's no effect with your base table or underlying table. Okay. You will not get any effect. What is inline view here? An inline view is a subquery with an alias that you can use within a SQL statement. So you're writing some correlated query kind of things. A name subquery in the form from clause of the main query is an example of inline view. An inline view is not a schema object. Okay. So here we are using select query. You can notice here this is the inline view where we are saying select. Inside that again we are writing select here. So there's a two select here to here, right? So query and subquery. So I think we understood the view concept now. Next is the index. What is index? Why we should create index? So I can say index is again a schema object which is used by the Oracle server to speed up the retrieval of rows by using a pointer, right? Can reduce disk input output by using rapid path access method to relocate data quickly, and is independent of the table it indexes, right? Is used and maintained automatically by the Oracle server. So what is your duty now? Your duty is to create index and put it, means let it be on the server. Once the user retrieve the data, then server will use that index and retrieve the data, so it will be faster. An index can be created automatically or manually. How automatically? Once you create primary key here in your column, let us say you are having employee ID or some kind of item ID. So on that column, automatically one index is getting created. Or once you are creating some unique constant kind of things, so index get created here. Manually, users can create non-unique indexes on columns to speed up the access to the rows. I will show you how to create. See the syntax here, it's very simple. Just write create index, index name, okay, create index, index name on table and columns. Whatever the column you will mention, it will create one index on that particular column, right? Once the user look for that column, then Oracle server will look index and then get the data. So it will have a faster retrieval of the data. So create index, index name. This is the index name on. This is my table and this is my column. Okay, so this index is getting created. Low status index. Okay. Now you may ask or you may be thinking when I should create index, when I should not create index. What are the cases? Good. A column contains a wide range of values. Suppose in a column we are having good number of values. A column contains large number of null values. Then you should create index. One or more columns are frequently used together in a where clause or a join condition. So in a where condition you are always using that column. So if this is the case, you should make an index on that particular column. Okay. The table is large and most queries are expected to retrieve less than 2 to 4% of the rows. In this case, you must create index. What I told, if table is large and whenever the query happen, always 2 to 4% of the rows get retrieved. Now, when you should not create index? So it is usually not worth creating an index. The table is small. It is not required. The column are not often used as a condition in the query. So most queries are expected to retrieve more than 2 to 4% of the rows in the table. Okay. So we are looking more than 2 to 4% of rows always. The table is updated frequently. We should not create index, right? The index column are referenced as a part of an expression. If we are using that column in expression, we should not create index. Okay. Like the total column, something like that. Now function based index here. A function based index is an index based on expression. The index expression is built from table column, constants, SQL functions and user defined functions, right? So create index, index name on table. We are saying upper. We are using function in that, right? So we can have some SQL functions, user defined functions, and we can create index based on that data. If you want to drop the index, it's very simple. Just say drop index, index name. So you can remove the index easily. To drop an index, you must be the owner of the index or have the drop any index privilege. Okay, so you should have this privilege, drop any index privilege. User must have this. Okay, now the next, that is the last object we'll see here in this session. Synonyms. What is synonyms here? Synonym simplifies access to object by creating a synonym, another name for an object. With, suppose you want to give some nickname to the object, so with synonym you can easily referring to a table owned by another user, short and lengthy object's name. So always we can give a new another name, shortened name for an object. So syntax is what here you can see here, create synonyms, or you can say public. If you're saying public, it will be accessible to all the users. Okay, so synonyms name for object name. Let us say you're having table imply underscore something underscore like that, big name. Just give a name, emp, short name for this object, right? So create synonym. See daily loan for this, here it is very small. Okay, if you want to drop, just say here drop synonym, synonym name. Okay, so we understood some schema objects where we have seen indexes, how to create index, how to drop index, and then we have seen how to create synonyms and how to drop synonyms.